All right, guys, what's going on? So as you can see, we're doing a baseball video. I got into this random project. The Red Sox need an infielder. Bottom line, um, it's not good right now. If we, I'm gonna talk about it later, but if we go with some of the in-house options, it's like okay, but it's not great. Okay, so let's start at the very beginning. So there has been three deals that have gone down semi recently that have kind of ruined, not ruined, but potential options have kind of started to dissipate, I guess is the way to put it. So we start with the Alex Bregman signing. I already went over that with the video. 5-year, 175 with the Cubs. That is the guy we needed to lock up. That is the guy we needed to secure, because if we could have signed him, we could have had Marcelo and who I'm going to get to later, and Romy platoon at second base, and then we have the infields figured out. So then you think, okay, maybe we do a guy like Ketel Marte. We hear rumors that he's likely not going to get moved. Nico Horner, the same thing. I'm going to go into that later. And then you look at a guy like, okay, maybe we sacrifice the defense, which I'm going to get into as well. That Gino Suarez can hit bombs, play okay defense, probably below average, but the homers will likely justify that. He signs a 1-year, $15 million deal with the Reds, which is kind of shocking considering he hit 49 homers last year. He's a good ball player. He does one thing very well, and that's hit home runs, which is statistically the most efficient way to score runs. Obviously, there's a lot of strikeouts. I mentioned the defense isn't great. So he goes to the Reds. I'm like not as mad about that as a lot of people out there are. They're like, oh, maybe the Sox is cheap. I don't think we needed more strikeouts in the lineup. I would like to have Gino, but like that's a match made in heaven with going back with Cincinnati. Then you look at a guy like Brendan Donovan. I didn't see Brendan Donovan as a fit primarily because he's a lefty. I think we need a righty bat, preferably. He goes to the Mariners in a 3-team deal. Shout out to Jeff Passan for all these news. He's the GOAT. So he goes to Seattle, which leaves an interesting hole in the lineup currently. I also have this tweet from Craig. This was at the Rangers Suarez signing. Shout out to Nesson for the article that I took this from. I'm going to leave it in the description below. It basically talks about how at the start of the offseason, our ideal scenario was power, right? So we miss on Pete Alonso, but then we get Contreras, which I love that addition. I feel like that's not being talked about enough. Contreras is going to be amazing. So then you shift from power to defense. And obviously Gino is not going to give you good defense. He's going to be below average. This is why Bregman not going to the Cubs is it's so annoying, because like he gives you the good defense. He has pop. He's a great clubhouse guy. Like that is the perfect fit. Donovan's also pretty solid defensively. He's versatile, so that would have been nice. But again, he's a left-handed bat. So I figured this video is probably going to be around 40 minutes, 45, whatever. We're going to go through each option, free agency, trade, and then I have 2 different categories, probably will not trade, and in-house options. So we're going to go through that. Let's hop right into free agency. Okay, I'm going to preface this free agency with one thing. It is dog water. We have no one that's on the free agency that I'm excited to look at and be like, this guy's going to be great. Okay, so we have 4 guys that I chose. IKF. I don't really need to go into IKF much. I remember when he was a Yankee. Yankee fans were complaining, and justifiably so. I mean, I hate Yankees fans. Like, they are probably the worst fan base in all of sports ever, if that makes any sense. But they kind of have a justified point. IKF is a defense merchant. His defense was like okay this year. He's a little versatile. He swings a pull noodle for a bat. He can run a little. He's just like an okay baseball player, but that's exactly what we don't need. Like, if you look at the OPS pluses for all these guys, they're not above 90. So, like, that's where we're like, okay, we could have had something else, but I'm not going to go into that much. So I basically sorted this little free agency by 3 different tiers. Gray is indicate this guy's a solid ball player, like he's nothing special. He's not really that good, but he'll do something. I literally have Luis Rengifo in his own tier because I don't know what to do with him. And then I have dumpster diving. Pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so solid ball players. I have IKF, who I already mentioned, and then you have a guy like Ramon Urias. And it's very interesting because there was an article recently that came out by Chris Cotillo that mentioned that the Sox, or a tweet I believe, that the Sox have checked in with Ramon Urias. So Ramon Urias, I believe he was an Oriole this past year. He was an Oriole, and then he got traded to Houston. So he's like an okay baseball player. This is why I literally have him in the solid ball player tier. He won a Gold Glove a few years ago. As you can see, he's 5 OAA. If we are prioritizing defense, that's a solid thing. He had 2 B-WAR, F-WAR was right around nothing, so that's interesting. He's not going to give you much. He's maybe steals a little bases. He has the highest OPS plus of all these guys. I think if you sign a guy like Ramon Urias, it's like, okay, like I'm mad that we didn't get anyone better, but he's going to be solid, I think. Luis Rengifo is really interesting. Like, really interesting. I'm going to pull up his baseball reference real quick. So, Luis Rengifo, he had like a 2-year stretch, which is really weird. From 2022 to 2024, he had these weird power years. As we can see, like, if we were getting Luis Rengifo in 2023, I'd be like, this guy's solid. Like, he plays, as you can see, he plays all over the infield. He has a little bit of pop. And then last year, or not last year, 2 years, because 2026 is coming up, he's an all-star. He was on the trade block, and then he gets hurt. He has stolen bases. His pop kind of went down, but he was like a 115 OPS plus guy. And then last year happens, which is like really confusing. He was actually like I thought he was way worse than he did. Apparently he had a good second half. But like his defense is actually kind of solid. So if you're wondering why I put -3 in quotations, I added second base and third base defense because that's currently what we're looking for. So he's such an interesting baseball player. Like, I wouldn't be excited if we signed him, but if we took like a 1-year flyer on him, like a minor league deal, I'd be like, okay, maybe he can do something at the big league level. And then you have Brendan Rodgers. I was just grasping, like I was right-handed. Like all these guys, if you notice, they're right-handed, which is exactly what we need. Brendan Rodgers, he had a few good years with the Rockies. Let me pull up his baseball reference right here. I think he was a Coors merchant. I think that's what I've kind of figured out. He won a Gold Glove, which is nice. The defense, he only played 43 games last year, so the defense like kind of just graded out as nothing. He might have been a Coors merchant because if you look at his numbers, like outside of Coors, obviously a smaller sample size, but like he didn't do much. This is again a guy that I call dumpster diving because like minor league deal, he'll probably give. He's not even a platoon bat. He's like just okay, and okay is being nice. Like as far as free agency, like it's not really a great pool. Like it's not a good pool at all. Most of these guys, if we sign minor league deals, I'd be like, okay, it's fine. Like I'm okay with that. If I had to choose someone who like I'd be like, okay, maybe we're getting someone like Ramon Urias. If I had to sort these guys, it would Ramon Urias 1, Rengifo 2, IKF 3, and Brendan Rodgers 4. Like the free agency pool isn't exactly great. Now we could go with a lefty bat. Like I could be not even thinking about that, but I really think we need a righty bat. So free agency is not good. It's not great at all. However, we're going to go to the trade market and look at that. Okay, moving to the trade market. So I again color coded these. This light blue, kind of indigo blue, I basically in all caps said need because he's a good ball player. I'm going to get into Paredes later. Potential or solid. These are guys who are like solid big leaguers or can have a potential. Gray, there could be something here. Like maybe this guy can come up and do something big. And then the pinkish is like we're desperate. Like kind of similar to dumpster diving here. Like trade, pink is like, okay, we need someone bad. Paredes. Okay, so I've talked about Paredes on this before. The defense isn't great, as you can see, -4. However, his swing is literally built for Fenway Park. Like, this guy is a pull monster. Um, he's like a solid player, 123 OPS plus, which is if all of these like two tiers, free agency and trade, like that's the guy that like I want, like I'm targeting. Again, the defense isn't good. However, I feel like you could justify that by potentially, I don't know, if you sign Paredes, right, or if you trade for Paredes. I'm not going to get into any trade like proposals because I don't really know that well. I just have names that the Red Sox should target. If you sign Paredes, you could do a Romy Meyer platoon at second because I don't think you want Meyer facing lefties much because we've talked about that before, and then Romy crushes lefties, so that could be a platoon there. Getting into some of the gold guys, Edmundo Sosa is actually super interesting. He's actually a really like solid baseball player. He's good defensively. He's kind of plays that bench role for the Phillies. However, Otto Kemp they look to kind of be going as is like that bench bat. So potentially Sosa could be on the move if a team wants him. I mean, I would take him. OPS plus right around 109, 23 extra base hits. He can play second. He can play third. He does have 1 year control, which is, I mean, it's not great. I'm gonna get into some of those guys later, and then Matt Shaw. He's going around Red Sox world like crazy lately, because obviously the Cubs signed Bregman. Horner's, I'm gonna get into him as well. He's at second, so Matt Shaw did have the third base slot, but now it could be more of a utility role, so he could be on the move if they do want to get rid of him. Shaw's a very interesting player. First half was pretty dreadful. Second half, he was actually pretty good. He had -1 OAA. The DRS was at 12, though, so that's a pretty large difference. He had 17 stolen bases. He did show he has a little bit of pop, 37 extra base hits. So there could be something there. I'd be curious what a trade package would look like for Matt Shaw. Again, he only had 1 year in the big league, so there's you'd be kind of trusting in the potential upside for him potentially. But he could be an option. Obviously, I would not be surprised if I wake up tomorrow morning and Matt Shaw's on the Red Sox, and I wouldn't be upset. He could show something pretty big. So then we have the gray tier. There could be something here. I'm going to start with Leon Sosa. He had a really good year for the White Sox, actually. He had an OPS plus around 101, -2 OAA. He played all around the infield. He had 20 homers, right around 1 WAR total, if you're using F4 or B WAR. He's below average defensively, but he did show that he has a little bit of pop. Maybe Fenway could get a little bit more out of that swing. Who knows? He does have 4 years of control as well. So, like, I mean, if you get him, you kind of have a util infielder. But then that also is an argument of Christian Campbell, which we're going to get into as well. I know we keep saying that, but this video is going to be long. We're going to get into a bunch of different stuff. Next up, Noelvi Marte. Reds guy, got popped for PEDs a few years ago. Big Reds prospect. He had a nice year last year. I mean, OPS plus was below average, but like 1 tier below average. Defense wasn't great. The only reason I don't think we're going to get him or the Reds are going to trade him is because he is more of an outfielder. They played him all around the infield, but he had 4 OAA and DRS at left field. So Miguel Andujar is another guy that I thought of as well. I think he's going to play that role. I mean, Noelvi Marte could be on the move, but he's a guy that, like, again, like, maybe we could tap into something. The battup ball profile wasn't great last year, so that kind of worries me a little bit. Casey Schmidt, 101 OPS plus, a little bit of pop last year, was pretty bad defensively, so that doesn't give any hope. They do have a little bit of a logjam in the infield now with the signing of Arias to play second, but Schmidt could also play second when Luis DHs potentially, so he could be on the move. And then we have dumpster diving / we're desperate. Zach Geloff showed really good things with the Athletics a few years ago. If this was a few years ago, we trade for him and he'd be like, yes, we got a good ball player. But he's pretty much fallen off a cliff. Injuries have kind of held him back. He led the AL in strikeouts this year, which I had no idea of. Last year he had 188 strikeouts, so we don't need that. He is good, solid defensively. So maybe we could tap into something there. I don't know. He also could be in like there's upside maybe. Ezekiel Duran, he played kind of a little bit of the infield this year for the Rangers. He is very far removed from that 2023 with the Rangers when he helped them win the World Series. He was actually a pretty good piece in there. Duran, not great, 65 OPS plus as you can see, pretty bad defensively. I don't know why we would trade for him, honestly. Now I'm looking at his name. But, yeah, I mean, like, if we were desperate for an infielder and the Rangers are willing to give him up, who knows, maybe? And then we have a guy, which would be hilarious, Vaughn Grissom. Now, if you know about the Sox, Vaughn Grissom was the main piece in the Chris Sale trade. And then we traded him to the Angels in the offseason. Could we get him back? I doubt we would. Like, I doubt the Angels would trade him because maybe they're like, oh, maybe we're gonna tap into something with this guy. I have his AAA stats right here. It's decent extra base hit numbers. A little bit of stolen bases. Obviously, I don't have the WAR numbers available. I doubt that would happen. Like I very much doubt a Vaughn Grissom trade would happen. But who knows? Maybe we sign him back. He was a very interesting guy because we kind of blocked him a ton. The Chris Sale trade obviously happened before the offseason going 23 to 24, and we got Vaughn Grissom, and people were actually pretty excited. He did play a little bit with the Sox in 2024, I believe. He wasn't great. Limited time, but I think he's losing weight or something, dealing with an injury, dealing with some sort of sickness, injury, whatever. So, I mean, if we held on to him, that'd be cool, because then we kind of be like, okay, maybe we can try out the kid, let the kids play. But nonetheless, the trade market's interesting. Our next tier is going to be guys that will probably not get traded. However, show some maybe a team trades him because they're like, okay, oh, whoa, you're giving up this for this, we'll do it. So let's hop right into that. Okay, so at first glance, you're going to see these names and be like, whoa, because it goes from Ketel Marte all the way down to Andrew Monasterio. Ketel Marte, I am 99.899 repeating percent sure he's not getting traded. Because Mike Hazen has already said, we were in like trade talks very heavily. Like we were close to acquiring this guy, and if we got Ketel Marte, imagine if we got Alex Bregman and Ketel Marte. That is an A+ offseason. We automatically become the best team in the AL East. I know the Blue Jays just went to the World Series, but if you get that bad, like dude, look at his stats over the last few years. He is a consistent 4 to 6 WAR player even. He actually showed like decent defensive metrics this past year. He crushes the ball. Like he's one of the top 10 baseball players in the league right now. Again, I don't think he's getting traded. Ultimately, because like, there's so many different reports that he's not getting traded. At this point, I'm like, okay, it's probably not going to happen, and I don't see him getting dealt at all mid-year or even next year because his 10-5 rights come in. If you don't know what 10-5 rights is, essentially you have authority over you getting traded, I believe it is. So he would definitely veto that regardless. Nico Horner, I love Nico Horner, dude. Nico Horner didn't make the top 100. It is a shame that guy did not make the top 100 players. Look at all his stats across the board. 114 OPS plus, 14 OAA. This guy is elite defensively. 40 extra base hits. He's not going to hit any homers, but he's going to hit doubles. If he was at Fenway, dude, the Monsters are going to get crushed. 29 stolen bases, 6 WAR. He has every single thing you need. The only thing with Nico Horner is 1 year control. And I don't think the Sox would be comfortable trading for a guy with 1 year control. They want players under control. That's already been said a ton this offseason. They want players under control. And I think it would be a disservice to Cubs fan if they did trade Nico Horner. Yeah, you could put Matt Shaw there. However, like, if you have an infield of Nico Horner, Alex Bregman, which just It's painful to say. Dansby Swanson and Michael Bush, that's like one of the best infields in the league. So you might as well just hold on to him, compete, and then he signs a deal. If we sign him, like if we signed him to a contract next year, I would be ecstatic. Alec Boehm's another guy. Boehm is negative defensively. He's gotten actually better over the past few years. He was hurt a little bit last year. Him and the Phillies have a weird relationship, man. Like, I can't tell if he loves it there or he hates it there. It's really weird. He, again, has 1 year control. I don't think they're going to move him, which is why I have him in this tier. I think the only scenario in which they would have moved him is if Bo Bichette signed with the Phillies, because Bo could play third, and then Boehm gets traded. Same thing with Suarez. If the Phillies would have signed Suarez to play third, Boehm gets traded. But because they didn't get either of those guys, I think Boehm just stays. Boehm just stays. I don't see him getting traded. I could be shocked. He might get traded. Again, the return you are getting for... So to trade for 1 year of control on a player, you're going to need to give up a lot for a guy like Nico. Boehm's actually going to be probably similar. I know when you think of Nico Horner and Alec Boehm, you think of two separate tiers, right? But I don't think either get traded. That's why they're in this tier. And then I have two teams, the Brewers and the Marlins. They both have infielders that potentially could get traded. Let me actually pull up the Brewers depth chart and the Marlins depth chart because they're very interesting because I'm going to reference this later. Durbin actually had an awesome year last year. Durbin had a 101 OPS plus, 4 OAA. He's good defensively. A little bit of stolen bases, 18 stolen bases, 2 WAR. Finished third in Rookie of the Year voting. He's currently slotted as a third baseman. Monasterio is kind of that bench piece currently. So getting to Monasterio, because I'm going to talk to these guys both. Monasterio also shows some nice things. 109 OPS plus, 1 OA, right around 1 WAR in 68 games, so obviously a smaller sample size. I would love to get Durbin, honestly. The only reason why I have them here is because they're a little thin on infielders, right? So I don't know if you traded a guy like Durbin, Monasterio could take his spot, but I think Monasterio is going to play that bench role almost. But if we got Durbin, I would be ecstatic. Again, it is going to take a lot to get Durbin. He's coming off a third place in Rookie of the Year voting. 5 years of control. A ton of control. You're going to need to give someone back to possibly plug that hole. Maybe a guy like Franklin Arias. Christian Campbell's probably not going to get traded, but you could send back an infielder. You could do that, but I don't think the Brewers are motivated to move Durbin because of the great year he had. Monasterio, again, I think he plays that infield role. Could we trade for him? Yes. Could we trade a prospect, or could we trade attached prospect that kind of plugs the hole of the infield for them? Yes. So those are very interesting. You look at a team like the Marlins. When we missed on Bregman, I immediately thought of Otto Lopez and Xavier Edwards. Both guys have 3 years of control. Both are actually coming off solid years. Xavier Edwards is actually like really good. So when he came up in 2024, he had a really nice year. Obviously, the guy, there's not a lot of pop there, unfortunately. He's kind of like a Chandler Simpson, but better. But his defense got so much better last year. He stole almost 30 bases. He's good. Otto Lopez is another guy. Great defense. 9 OAA for Xavier Edwards, 5 for Otto Lopez. Both had OPS pluses under 100, but still solid ball players, man. Right around 2 to 3 WAR. If you look at their depth, they have Morel and Sonoja on the bench. Sonoja just won the Gold Glove as a util guy, so he could plug and play here. I don't think they're inclined to move him because I think the Marlins are trying to build a little bit of a core, and I think Otto Lopez and Xavier Edwards are part of that core. Xavier Edwards is a switch hitter, which is interesting. Again, it would take a lot to get these guys. I don't know exactly what the Marlins need necessarily. Just giving a quick look here, I don't think they need much pitching. They could get a bullpen arm. I don't know what bullpen arm we have to attach. I think they're currently in kind of rebuilding phase. They're a fun team. But it's going to be very interesting to see if any of these guys get dealt. I don't think Marte gets dealt. Horner, I don't think it's dealt. You guys with years of control, I don't think it dealt. Otto Lopez, Xavier Edwards, Durbin, or Monasterio, I doubt they get dealt. I think they're trying to build a core around them. But who knows, man? The final area that we are going to go into is the in-house options, which is the part that I hate. But nonetheless, let's go into it. Okay. So the worst case scenario happens, right? The worst case scenario is we don't do anything and we trust our current platoons in our current infield, right? So I know it's going around the Romy Deham platoon. If you don't know Deham, it's David Hamilton. Romy is incredibly valuable. Like I think Romy almost gets undervalued. The guy crushes lefties. Defensively, he wasn't great last year, which again is part of the issue that we are trying to fix currently with the team. Defensively, David Hamlin, I don't even know what to say about that guy. He stole 30 bases in 2024. He had a horrible start to the year. If you remember, people were calling us to trade for Elvis Andrus because David Hamilton was so bad at defense. Last year was interesting. Because if you look at David Hamilton, sorry I don't have this prepared. If you look at David Hamilton last year, I know I could go to Savant too. He was a positive defender. Like he was a positive defender the year before. I think he just had that really rough start to the year. So you could do a Romy David Hamilton platoon. Hamilton was awful last year. So like that's like ultimately the worst case scenario. A Romy Meyer platoon is another option. I know I mentioned that earlier. That would entail likely signing a third baseman like Paredes or another third baseman a guy who can play third or trade. And then having Romy platoon with Meyer at second. That would entail Romy hitting lefties, Meyer hitting righties, which actually could be a deadly platoon if done correctly. Then you have some of the bench guys, Nick Sogard, Nate Eaton. I think those guys are just like bulldogs. Like they will do anything for the team. I think they're going to be more of a util role. Eaton graded out negative defensively. Sogard was positive defensively. They are just like kind of like perfect bench bats in my opinion. I don't think they should get a starting spot. I know at FanFest and one other thing, Alex Cora spoke very highly of Sogard and Eaton. So I think they're going to be pivotal players on this team. And then we get to the part that I even debated including him on this in-house options tier is Christian Campbell. Casey's very interesting. I actually got to meet Casey at a FanFest. I got to take a photo with him. Really cool guy. He kind of is the odd man out currently, but I don't think we should trade Campbell necessarily. I think Campbell has some really good value. Now, if we're talking at second base, 57 games, negative 8 OAA. He didn't pass the eye test either. He was just like horrible. Like legitimately some of the worst defense I've seen in a while, and I really feel bad for the kid because he's such like he could be a masher. He's just got to find a position. And like yeah, you could play him in left on some days, but you still have the issue. I still call it an issue. I know people call it depth, but we have a logjam. We have a big logjam. We have Yoshida, which you saw the Jordan Hicks contract. Could you dump Yoshida? Yoshida, I think, maybe has some value off the bench. Duran is still on this team, which I'm actually okay with. I think if you trade, I think ideally I'd want to get rid of Duran or Yoshida. I want to get rid of Yoshida if that's the case. Casey could go out and play an outfield position. He could play all around the infield. Injuries are bound to happen. Like, maybe he could plug a hole. I think he starts the year at AAA, to be honest with you. I think we may have rushed him up a little bit. But at second base, I don't think we should play him there. I think we may give him another option, which I'd be totally okay with. Like, give him another option. Speaking of options, I think he has a few options left. So he's been doing. I was looking for his options left, but he still has. He's been working at second base and the outfield. If we look at his Fangraphs, I believe that's where it will say are his options. We'll go back to that a little bit later. But in-house options, like, not the end of the world if we don't sign anyone. Just kind of sucks. Pulling up our depth chart here. We just signed Kyle Keller. Nice. Gage Zeal, I already mentioned the Hicks dump. So going around our infield. Trevor Story, he was our home run leader last year. He was solid as ever. He had a really good year. I don't know if a lot of it was sticky, unfortunately, but if he can give you anything that he did last year, I'm confident. Contreras, I think, is going to be awesome at Fenway. I don't know why a lot of people aren't more excited for Wilson Contreras. I almost said William. Contreras, he's going to kill the monster. He's going to pepper it. He's probably going to hit right around 25 homers, 30 homers. He's going to be a solid ball player. He has some good defense to go along with it. And then we have the area that we've been talking about this entire video, third base, second base. Currently, Meyer's at third. Romy's at second. Meyer, I think his ceiling, or not his ceiling, he's currently a righty masher. Which I am curious as well. Again, sorry I'm not prepared with this. This is kind of just a brain dump, honestly, this video. If we look at his splits against righties, I know lefties he struggled with heavily. He's a 740 OPS against righties. So, I mean, like, yeah. Oh my god. I just closed out of that. He had a 740 OPS against righties. So like a Romy Meyer platoon, I'd be fine with that. I think we just got to do something. I am expecting a move has to happen, right? Like our rotation is probably the second best in the AL. It's even maybe better than the Mariners. Maybe if you go through every single team right now, I don't think there's a better rotation on paper in the AL. Again, maybe outside of the Mariners. Crochet is the Bulldog. He's going to give you 200 innings of Cy Young ball. Ranger Suarez is a crafty lefty. I loved that signing. Sonny Gray is a perfect 3. Bayo is a perfect 4. Again, maybe Bayo gets traded. Maybe a guy like Early or Tolley plays a role in this team as well, which I would love to see. Johan Oviedo, so much potential. That guy could be a monster. It's going to be interesting to see how this team shapes up in the coming weeks. Pitchers and catchers report in a week. I don't know, man. It's interesting to see what we're going to do. I'm excited to see it. Hopefully you enjoyed that little brain dump of a video. Going over all the potential options that we have to sign or trade for. Hopefully we have a move in the next few days. If we do, I will make a video about it. I will talk about it, my thoughts on the trade, assuming it's a trade. Again, going to the free agents tier, man. Like, if we do any of these guys, I'm like, okay, like maybe this guy has something to show, but it's going to be disappointing regardless. If I had a guy right now that I think should be on this team, it's Isaac Paredes. Swing's built for Fenway. He did have a hamstring issue last year, so there could be an injury risk there. He's going to pull he's going to kill the monster. He's going to hit it over the monster. He's not going to be good defensively, but I think he can mash enough to justify that. So that's going to be it for this video. I will see you guys on... Friday. There's going to be a game called Leatherfall coming out. I have gameplay that coming out. And again, if another trade happens, which I'm assuming a trade has to happen pretty soon with us, I'll have a reaction to it. Hope you guys enjoyed that video, and I will see you Friday.